Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my September wrap-up. Let's just get it out of the way right away. The first book that I read is a book called 7 Dead Pirates. This is by, oh man, I didn't look up the authors of any of these. So the first book that I read this month was 7 Dead Pirates by Linda Bailey. This was a middle grade book that I had seen around quite a bit, actually, not on BookTube, but at the library, and I was reading a lot of reviews on it, and they said it was all really cute. I really enjoyed it. I would not be surprised if there were more books by this author, kind of in this same series, with the same kids, and this whole idea of these dead pirates coming back and needing his help. Really good kind of like adventure story about a boy who does not fit in very well at school. So it was really cute, really good little middle grade book. And the next book that I read was actually a Man Booker long list book, and that was My Name is Lucy Barton by Elizabeth Strout. This book took me a little bit to figure out what I thought of it. I wasn't super thrilled with it, to be honest. It's about a mother and daughter and their kind of relationship while this daughter is getting better because she has gotten very ill after an operation. But my expectation for this book was much different than what this book actually was about. I thought it was going to be much more about trying to figure out what was wrong with her, and it wasn't at all. It was mostly just, you have an infection, you're not getting better right away, you're just gonna have to stay here for a while. And it was very much more focused on the relationship between the mother and the daughter. Now, the relationship between the mother and daughter is strained, and it's very strange, and it was not something that I could very well relate to because the relationship that I have with my mother is pretty great and always has been. It was an interesting story. There's a lot of like meta stuff, which is one of the aspects that I really like. I like books that get a little bit meta on me. So this was a book that was supposedly written by Lucy Barton. I was kind of meh on that book. When the shortlist was announced, I was not horribly surprised that it did not make the shortlist. I thought it was honestly a little too surface level. There was a couple things that people were like, when I read that sentence, that I knew the whole message of the book. And to me, that was incredibly true, but it was also a bit like they were beating me over the head with it. The whole message of this book and the one sentence that all these people are talking about is the sentence that goes something like, you only have one story, you're going to tell that story for the rest of your life, that sort of thing, which is a great little sentence, and I thought it was a great message, but at the same time it was like, it's not super original, it's not, I don't know, I was left a little bit wanting in that story just because I thought that the message was very much like, here, let me beat you over the head with, you only have one life to live, you have to live it the way you want to live it. The book I read after that was actually a recommendation from one of my friends at work, and it was Happy People Read and Drink Coffee, and the title alone was enough for me to go, oh yes, I want to read that. This was a cute book. It was very fluffy, very light, only really took me a couple hours to read, even though it was like 300 pages. It was translated from French, which is interesting because I had never read something that's quite so fluffy that has been translated from a different language, so that was kind of bizarre. It's alright. It's about a girl who loses her husband and daughter in a car accident, and she basically just decides she's done. She's like, that's it, I'm not gonna live anymore. So she just kind of curls up into herself and no longer wants to be a part of the world, and everybody's really mean to her. Like, her parents are really mean to her, her husband's parents are really mean to her. So I'm like, man, nobody is giving you a break. You just lost your husband and daughter. I feel like maybe you need to cut some of the negativity out of your life. So everybody's really nasty to her, and she decides that she's just gonna go to Ireland. She's just gonna go and she's gonna live there. And she meets a guy in Ireland, and then this whole, you know, I love you, but I can't be with you, blah, 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 etc., etc. Cute. The guy's a jerk in the beginning, which I'm always kind of like, don't like it when they portray the guy as like literally a jerk. I get the whole like, oh, I'm brooding and mysterious and whatever, but I don't like it when he's literally an asshole. and then you're like, oh, but I'm strangely attracted to him. I'm like, no! No, that's not healthy. Go away. I would give it 3 stars if I was forced. Alright, the 4th book that I read, look at me go. I read more than 3 books this month. The 4th book that I read was Erafire by Sarah J. Maas, and this is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series, which I started a few years ago and then never continued with it. This is actually the first YA I've read, not only this year, but possibly all last year as well. So this may have been the first YA book that I read in the last like 2 years. This follows our main protagonist, Selena, and her kind of journey as the king's assassin, and she is something other than the king's assassin without being spoiler. If you haven't read the first 2 books, even the fact that she's the king's assassin is a spoiler. So, I can't say any more because it's basically spoiler. We get introduced to a lot of new characters in this one, and I'm way more into the new characters than I am a lot of the old characters. So for like a new character, my favorite new character is Manon. She is a witch. I'm big on witches, like stories about witches, dig creepy witches, love it. She is terrifying and I love her so much. I liked her from the instant. People were like, oh no, she's gross and weird, and I was like, yes! Different type of character. So I was so excited because she was creepy, and there's like a whole big thing with the witches. I would read a Sarah J. Maas book strictly about these witches. It's a very interesting dynamic that they've got. I don't know how they're going to tie in really with Selena. These witches are crazy. They've got wyverns. King has given them wyverns, which is never a good idea. I feel like don't give crazy witches dragons. You can quote me on that. The older characters I didn't care really much about. Dorian, didn't really care about him. Never really cared about him though. He's never been my favorite. Cole, I don't know. I call him Cole. Also not a big fan of him. Another new character was Rowan, and he was like Selena's teacher person, and I really liked him as well. Again, a little bit more of the, he's a jackass, but he has more reason to be a jackass. I am probably going to pick up the next couple books because I think we're on the 5th book, which is the 2nd to last book in the series. And I've got to catch up because I think the next one is Queen of Shadows, and then we've got Empire of Storms, and then the next book. So, I really enjoyed that one. I'm going to continue on with the series. The last book that I'm not reading, I'm listening to, is The Cuckoos Calling by Robert Galbraith. The Cormoran Strike series is like one of my favorite series. I think it's great. I love it. I love the narrator. I listened to the 2nd book as an audiobook as well. And the narrator just like, I don't know if I can read these books because the narrator is just so good. And all I hear is just his impersonation of all of these people. Those are all of the books that I read. I read 5 books. Guys, that's so many books for me. I'm so excited. That is going to be all today. Leave me a comment down below with what you guys have been reading, how your reading is going this year. I like book recommendations, so leave me some down below. Do you have any plans for October? Do you guys pick up some creepy books? Let me know. And I will talk to you all very soon with another video. Bye!